All right, hello grade 3. Today we are going to do a bit of, get out of there, mister. Why does that not want to go away? 1 second, mouse. There we go. We are going to do a bit of practice with multiplication because I know that some of it's a little bit tricky, so we'll review it together. Then you'll have some practice to do, and then we'll go from there and see if we're ready to move into division, okay? So let's practice. So to start us off, what is an addition sentence? Move myself up here. So an addition sentence shows us when something is being added. So I'm going to use this right here. So my addition sentence that I'm going to use will probably be 3 plus 4 equals 7, which we know because we've already done addition and subtraction. Okay, so there's my 3 plus 4 equals 7. So now this number right here has a special name. Oh, no, I want to draw, please. There we go. So this number and this number, they both have a special name. That's right here. They're called addends. And addends are the numbers that you are adding together. So 3 is an addend and 4 is an addend. Let's see if I can stick addend underneath there. Nice. And then over here, we know that the answer to an addition question is called the sum. So that is this guy right here, the sum. So let's take a look down here. I'm going to create a multiplication sentence. 5 times 4 equals 20. So just like in an addition sentence, these have special names. So let's get this back out here. These guys right here, my 5 and my 4, my numbers that are being multiplied together are called factors. So 5 is a factor and 4 is a factor. Notice how it's different from our addition sentence because we're talking about multiplication. We're not adding, we're multiplying, okay? So let's see, oops, my spotlight, perfect. Don't need that. All right, the answer we now know is called the product, okay? So in multiplication, the answer, which is this guy right here, is called the product. So this whole thing right here is called the addition sentence. We don't use words in the sentence like we would in ELA. In math, our sentences are a little bit different. They have numbers and symbols. But an addition sentence always has an addend plus an addend equals the sum. Our multiplication sentence always has factor times a factor equals a product. All right, let's move into our next slide. All right, so, oops, on this page, my goodness, this doesn't like to stay in one place, does it? We're going to go back to the very beginning and we are going to talk about equal groups. So I need equal groups to multiply. If we take a look right here, I have a group of 4 and a group of 4. Those two groups are equal because each one has the same number of smiley faces in it. Each one has 4 smiley faces. So I have 2 groups of 4. So 2 groups times 4. So what you'll notice is that this first number here, I put how many groups I had. I had 2 groups. And here, I put how many was in each group, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I know, because I've been practicing my basic facts, that 2 times 4 is 8. It's kind of hard to write on here, so I'm sorry that they look funny. Now, over here, I have the exact same number of smiley faces, but I've changed it a bit. Now I have a group of 2, a group of 2, another group of 2, and another group of 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. And in each group, I have 1, 2, 2 smiley faces. 4 times 2, I know my answer to this, my product, because I have been practicing my basic facts. It is also 8. I haven't changed the number of smileys I have, I've just changed the way I've grouped them. So over here, it's 2 times 4 because I have 2 groups with 4 in each side. Over here, it's 4 times 2 because I have 4 groups with 2 inside. So this number right here is how many groups I have, and this number right here is how many things are inside each group. And there's my product, okay? So down here, let's see if I can change the color. No, I can't, that's okay. All right, down here, we have something that looks a little bit different. So I have a group here, and I have a group here. Can I multiply those two together? I want you to think about that. If you said no, then you are correct. I can't multiply these two together because it's not equal groups. So it's not 4 times 2 because each group doesn't have, there aren't 4 groups with 2 inside, and it's not 2 times 4 because there aren't 2 groups with 4 in each. Just doesn't work. These groups are not equal, so that does not work for multiplication, okay? If I wanted that to work properly, let's see if I can, oh, I can go like this. Get out of the way. Get him up there. And now I have a group here and a group here. Now I can do this multiplication sentence because I have 2 groups and each one has 1, 2, 3, 4 in it. So that would be my 2 times 4. Okay. So here's what you're going to do now. You're going to pause the video and you're going to try and write the multiplication sentence for these 2 pictures. So remember, you're going to just decide how many groups there are here and how many are in each group, how many plus signs are in each group. Then you're going, or weird 4-sided shapes, let's call them, okay? How many are in each group, and write the multiplication sentence, okay? So I want you to try that for both of those. I would pause it here so you can try. All right, so let's give this a shot together. So here I'm seeing, oops, where's my draw? 1, 2, I'm seeing 3 groups in this picture. That's what it looks like to me, okay? So to me, I see 2 here, and 2 here, and 2 here, but I'm gonna remember to put the number of groups first. So I have 1, 2, 3 groups. Need my multiplication symbol, my X. And in each group I have 1, 2. So the multiplication sentence for this picture is 3 times 2. If I want to put the answer, 3 times 2 is 6. Now, over here, to me, it looks like I have 1, 2 groups. So I'm going to write my 2 down. And in each group, where's my symbol? There it is. In each group, I have 1, 2, 3. 2 times 3 equals 6. All right. If you did that, then you got it correct. Nice work. We're going to move on and take a look at arrays, because equal groups and arrays look very, very similar. So let's take a quick look at these arrays. So remember, where's my straight line here? When I look at an array, I like to think of it this way. This right here my silly arrow, going up and down. Do you remember what that's called? That's called a column. Now, if I'm talking about across like this, do you remember what that's called? That's called a row. So the best way that I can think to do that, here, let's put the writing in so that you remember. That's a row. And we're just going to take this guy and see if we can twist him around. He doesn't want to twist around, but that's a column, okay? So I'm going to take a look at this, and I'm going to count, and I'm going to look, and I'm going to say, how many rows do I have? I have one row here going across, I have one row here, and I have one row here. So I'm seeing 3 rows. Where's my multiplication symbol? Now I'm going to look at the columns. So now I'm going to take a look. I'm going to say, okay, so columns go up and down. So there's up and down, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 5 columns. So 3 times 5. If I wanted to do the answer, I know from practicing my basic facts that the answer to this would be 15. Now over here, I'm going to look at this again, and I'm going to see how many rows I have. So remember, rows go across. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to write 5 for my rows. My multiplication symbol is my X here. Now I'm going to take a look again at my columns. So remember, columns go up and down. 1, 2, 3. Now 5 times 3 is still 15. So you'll notice with these arrays that if I just turn it on its side, I just lay it a different way, that these 2 numbers, the factors, switch spots, because now I've got 5 rows and 3 columns. So now what you're going to do is you're going to try. So you're going to pause this and you are going to write the multiplication sentences for these 2 pictures. Think about how many rows you have and how many columns you have and write it down. So pause here. All right, let's take a peek. So here I have how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I am going to write 4. Now, how many columns do I have? 1, 2. So I'm going to say 4 times 2. And I could count them, but I know from practicing my basic facts already that 4 times 2 equals 8. So now I'm going to look over here. I have how many rows? 1, 2. Okay, 2. There's my multiplication symbol. And how many columns? Now going up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 times 4, and I know from my basic facts that 2 times 4 is 8. So once again, I've just taken the shape, flipped it on its side, and the factors have switched spots, but the answer is still the same. I haven't changed the number of shapes I have. Good work. All right, let's take a little peek at our repeated addition. I know that this is going quite quickly, grade 3. This is just meant to be a general review. Then I'll have you do some practice, okay? So let's take a look. Repeated addition. So repeated addition is when we use our adding to create or find the answer, okay? This is just to help us think about the multiplication, but it's addition. Remember, addition uses a plus sign, okay? So if I take a look at this picture, what I see is that I have some groups. I have 4 there, I have 4 there, and I have 4 there. It does kind of look like an array too, doesn't it? But I'm going to break it up into groups just to make it easier for myself. So I know I have 4 plus 4, and I have 4 more. This is my repeated addition sentence right here. The reason it's called a repeated addition sentence is because I don't just have the plus sign once. I repeat it by having another one, or I repeat the number, okay? So 4 plus 4 we know is 8, and I'm gonna add 4 more. So my answer, or my sum, is 12. Now I can take a look at this and I can turn this into a multiplication sentence too. Another thing I can think of is I have 3 groups, 1, 2, 3. Here's my multiplication symbol. And how many are in each group? Well, we know it's this number right here because we counted the donuts. 3 times 4. 3 times 4 equals 12. The number has not changed. The product there has not changed. Now, do you think I could write 4 times 3 equals 12? I could. It wouldn't be wrong. I see the number 4 3 different times. 4 times 3. However, sometimes it's easier to just remember in your head the number of groups comes first and how many are in each group comes second, okay? But you would not be wrong if you said 4 times 3, but I would like you to try and do it this way. So let's look up here. So I have 3 times 2. What is 3 times 2? We know the product of that is 6. But to find that product, I could use repeated addition. So I know I have 3 groups. So 1, 2, 3, and each one has 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2. So I could add that to find the answer, to find the sum of the addition sentence, the product of the multiplication sentence. They'll have the same answer. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. So see how I could use repeated addition to find that answer as well. But because this is a basic fact, I should be able to just know it and just say it, okay? Down here, I know I have 2 groups, and in each group, I have 3. So 3 plus 3, we know is 6. So my product down here will be 6. Last one here, I have 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bear with me, I know I write a little slow on here compared to on the whiteboard at school, but it's a little bit trickier doing it with your computer keyboard. So I'm just gonna get my plus signs in there. So in each group I have 5. There's a 5, there's a 5, there's a 5, there's a 5, and there's a 5. All right, so 5 plus 5. Another thing I could do is skip count here. That might make it easier. We know how to skip count. We know how to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So the sum of this addition sentence is 25. And because we used this, we know that that product is the same thing, 25. So what you're going to do is I'm going to clear this again. Go to this one here, and you're going to pause, and you're going to try and write a repeated addition, or, well, there will be 2. So a repeated addition sentence for this one, you're going to make your groups just like I did. And then multiplication sentences. You're going to try and come up with those for these pictures, okay? So you can pause it here and give it a try, and then we'll go through the answer. All right, I'm going to make my groups. I see a group here. I see a group here. I see a group here. And I see a group here. And I see a group here. So I'm going to count how many groups I have. 1. Actually, I'm going to do the repeated addition first. So there's 3 in there. So I know I'm doing 3. Here, let's do the text to make it easier. 3. 1 second, let me get rid of this little dude here. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 more. So I'm going to add those together, and we did skip count by 3, so I'm going to skip count this time. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So my answer, or my sum, is 15. Now I can also write, oops, a multiplication sentence for this. So I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. There's my multiplication symbol. And in each group, I have 1, 2, 3. So 5 times 3, I know from my basic facts, is 15. So there's my addition, repeated addition sentence and my multiplication sentence. Now over here, here are the groups I see. There's a group, there's a group, and there's a group. So once again, let's add these together. I see a group of 5. I see a group of 5, and I see one more group of 5. So I'm going to add those together. So 5, 10, 15. And now I can also write my multiplication sentence. I see 1, 2, 3 groups. There's my multiplication symbol. And in each group I have 5, so my answer is 15. So there is my repeated addition sentence and my multiplication sentence. Nice work. So here's your job. I've sent these out in the email. If you have not done these pages yet, you're going to try them. So in your practice book, you are going to do this page right here, page 120 and 121. It's basically what we've just been working on. But I want you to be very careful with your counting, pay very close attention here. So up here, it's showing you that this is the same picture. They've just flipped it on its head like we did. We flipped it over, okay? So here I have 3 rows and 4 columns. So it's 3 times 4 equals 12. Now if I flipped it, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows going across. So 4 times 1, 2, 3, 3 columns. 4 times 3 equals 12. Now here's the same idea using equal groups. So I have 2 groups here with 5 in them. So 2 groups of 5, 2 times 5 equals 10. Over here, it's the same number of circles, but now we have groups of 2. 1 group of 2, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. So I have 5 groups times 2 dots in each group equals 10, okay? So down here for number 1, sorry, that's right here, you're going to write 2 multiplication sentences. So you're going to write the first one that you see here using the rows and columns, and then you're going to write what it would be if you flipped it on its side. Same here, you're going to write the multiplication sentence and then write the multiplication sentence if you flipped it on its side. Up here, you're going to do 2 multiplication sentences and 2 repeated addition. So what that means is I'm going to start by doing a multiplication repeated addition. So I'm going to look at my different groups. So I'm going to consider this a group, and this a group, and this a group, and this a group, and this a group. So 5 groups plus 5 plus, or sorry, I have 4 in each one. So I would go 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 would be my repeated addition. Then I would say, okay, I have 5 groups of 4, so 5 times 4 is my multiplication. Then I'm going to flip it on its side. Now I have a different number of rows and columns. Remember, those numbers have switched. So I'm going to write those ones, okay? Here you're going to draw an array and write what the other multiplication sentence would be if your factors switched. And down here is a stretch your thinking just to challenge you, okay? Once you've done that, I have one more challenge for you to do. It's a textbook page. You don't have your textbooks, but I've attached this to the email as well. You're going to try this one yourself. If you do this page in your home learning book, you will get 5 bonus points. You do not have to submit this to me. However, if you do, you will get 5 bonus dojo points, okay? So I want you to try your best and have fun, okay? Math isn't supposed, I mean, it's a little tricky, but it's supposed to challenge your brain, get your brain working. So I want you to just try your very best.